the Digital Digest, your weekly breakfast of insights, tips and tricks, and general information that will help anyone trying to move forward in the digital world of accounting. This show is sponsored by Advancetrack, the pioneer of pod sourcing, the sustainable alternative to offshoring, and brought to you by the digital disruptors who are pushing the boundaries in the digital accounting space. I'm your host for this episode, and I'm joined by Craig Hart, and we're going to be discussing FreeAgent and Mettle, and how the combination of those two products can really help small businesses in the UK at the moment. So we'll crack on. Craig, how are you this morning? Great to meet you. I've been hearing about your ski trip in Avoriaz in a couple of months' time and stuff, and I'm only slightly jealous, but only slightly, because I'm doing the same trip, I think, about a month before you. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and your business and what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So thank you. So my name is Craig Hart. I run a small accountancy practice, Hart Family Accountancy, just based from home. There's myself and my wife, both chartered accountants. I've been doing this for 17, 18 years since I left school. So accountancy apprenticeship, and then I'm a ICAW chartered accountant, fellow now as well. And joined me, and she did her exams with me through the apprenticeship scheme. Fantastic. So we are both award-winning chartered accountants. And we've built up basically a business of 530 clients, which sounds like a lot. Some of those are really small, and that's kind of counting if you've got like husband and wife running the same kind of business as well. That's all the individuals. So we've got about 220 limited companies. And a good mix, but probably a strong contractor base. So one-man band, limited company needs a limited company to trade. It's a contractor relationship. So we really kind of specialize in that, and find that using software, predominantly FreeAgent, that's really what I based my practice on. We've got almost 200 licenses on the go, and the integration with Mettle, which is what I'm here to talk about today, is a fantastic value proposition for clients as well as accountants. So yeah, happy to talk about it, and let everyone kind of in on the secrets of running my practice, really.
Amazing. And you mentioned that you're award winning. I'm not sure if you mentioned what the awards were that you'd won, so maybe you should cover those before we get into it.
Yeah, so I won New Accountant of the Year at the North East Accountancy Awards in 2014. I was shortlisted for Accountant of the Year in 2017, 18, something like that. I was also shortlisted for the FD's Excellence Awards 2015, something like that. And my wife won an award for her exam scores when she was studying. She basically got one of the highest scores in the northeast of England. We have the Northern Society of Chartered Accountants have a specific prize associated with it. So so she won that. So
excellent.
Yeah, lots of hard work, and but effective, basically delivering for clients, getting stuff done. That's what we really focus on. So.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, you've got a predominance of clients in the sort of contractor space, and small businesses. Perfect, obviously, for FreeAgent, which is probably one of the reasons why you picked it. But I'd be interested to understand, how you did land with FreeAgent, maybe compared to some of the cloud products in the market.
Yeah, so I originally started with FreeAgent because I was a NatWest banking customer. And that was a free piece of software that they offered. So I was just like, well, I've started my own business. I'm gonna need some software. I'll just start with that and see how it works. And then I really started to get a handful of clients who also used it, because I thought at the time, really, a client's gonna do their invoices on this? Are they really gonna work their bank transactions out? Are they going to upload the receipts and all that kind of stuff? I was thinking, well, this is probably a bit complicated for contractors. And then I really started to it develops all the time, right? So FreeAgent have a really active development team, and the product improves a lot without us partners having to actually do anything. So if you think about, some other accountancy partners haven't really reinvented themselves over, the last 15 years. I would say FreeAgent definitely has. Like it's constantly getting better, constantly looking for ways to improve. I've worked with their development team on a few areas like CIS, and basically constantly I'm constantly putting forward recommendations, things that I think would be a great improvement, and they act on it. You know, any easy fixes, they get on it. The support team is fantastic. So I ended up sort of 3 years ago, started rolling it out, probably started with a handful, 10 clients. And then I thought, well, actually, this is really powerful for my VAT registered clients, just generally. Like, obviously, VAT, you have to do more compliance, you've got to do more returns. You need to work out the VAT. It's just much more time consuming and at the time I was getting clients statements. I'd have to chase them for them. I'd be getting them really close to the deadlines because it's like 37 days to submit your VAT return. Whereas with FreeAgent, it solves so many problems. It's like the bank is already linked. You've already got your transactions. You can work through them. A lot of them are on the cash basis. You know what the transactions are. So even if the client hasn't uploaded the receipts, we don't necessarily need them to process the transactions, because if they go to Screwfix, you know, it's going to be materials. If they are traveling, paying for train line, you know, it's travel. So, you know, as long as the client keeps the receipts in case HMRC needs to look at them, we can actually process receipts, process the transactions really easily. And it's a drop-down box. You're not having to enter information. And if you think about how we used to prepare accounts like 15 years ago when I first started, you'd be physically typing in bank statements into the computer. It might take you a day or two to do a full year's set of accounts for a small business. You get to the end of typing in your bank statements and the bank wouldn't balance. So you'd have to go back through and
we've all been there, Craig.
Yeah, it's like, if you think that problem does not exist anymore, does not exist. And it's like how much time that frees up for us clients, proactive advice. If we've got a live data feed for a client, we can be so proactive. Like, think about the dashboard that we have with FreeAgent, right? So, I mean, for those who don't use it, I've got a practice dashboard where it tells me if a client has low distributable reserves, if a client has got an overdrawn director's loan account, if a client has approached the VAT threshold and they've gone over 80 grand, and you think, well, you're gonna have to check to see if they're going over 90. Like, all of these alerts solve so many issues. Like, you can just be proactive, like telling clients, right, oh, well, your year end's coming up. We can see roughly you've got profit of, you know, say 70 grand. You're going to be paying some higher rate corporation tax. Well, why don't you do some pension contributions and bring that down? Or you've got, what about an electric vehicle or commercial vehicle? Would they work for you? These things save thousands of pounds in tax, like across pensions and vehicles. You know, one client I managed to save like 18 grand, just a smallish contractor, you know, turning over maybe 100 grand. But yeah, saving 18 grand is phenomenal, isn't it? And it also comes down to making sure that clients are planning their own finances and they're in control of it. So you're giving clients the tools to do that. I mean, the worst case scenario is clients are like just basically making, say, 80, 90 grand profit, and they're drawing it all out. So they're paying higher rates corporation tax, higher rates dividend tax. And I've had clients come to me where they're already paying that, and it's easy to just get them to kind of budget, see if you can move the costs in the company, pension contributions, don't draw it all out. That's where that is in driving us being able to provide advice to the clients.
And it feels very much, doesn't it? You know, all those things you're talking about that you see in the practice dashboard, they feel like they've been built by a team that really understand the problems that accountants dealing with these kind of clients face. So they're bringing them all like front and center for you to deal with. And I think, you know, another classic example of some of the recent releases that FreeAgent have done is that ability to refresh the bank feed that you talked about en masse across all of your clients, rather than having to go in individually and do it bank account by bank account. You know, those things are just massive time savers, aren't they?
Yeah, enormous. I mean, having to chase the client to say you got to relink your bank every 90 days is much easier than chasing them for bank statements, because everything's done on the app on your phone, isn't it? You know, right? Because some of the bank feeds work differently, so they can't refresh automatically, even still now. But the auto refreshing is a fantastic tool, and it does, speed things up. Like say, I don't know, 80% of the bank feed like leaving you. That's great. It saves so much time. But even on the remaining clients, and say, like, just open the FreeAgent app, press some buttons, re-establish, you're straight in, and just much easier than having to ring them up. The alternative is ring them up and say, right, you need to download your bank statements into Excel, send me them across securely. Just talking them through it, click by click. It's just a much easier way of doing it. Yeah. So it's really helpful. What FreeAgent have done. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to banking, then, I mean, you talked about the fact that you were a NatWest customer, and that's kind of how you found your way to FreeAgent. And then obviously NatWest then launched Mettle, which was kind of their, I guess their sort of, competitor bank in that kind of new banking space, to move away from the sort of traditional sort of high street, red brick banking that NatWest presents. And Mettle now does have a banking license as well, so it's not just an e-money account like some of the other people on the market. And again, that has an impact for anyone using FreeAgent, doesn't it, Craig? So maybe you can just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, first thing to say is we cannot be recommending any financial person or product, but I can tell you about the fun that Mettle provides. So Mettle is, online bank account. You can do some standard kind of banking stuff, get cash out, put cash in at the post office, which is really convenient. But you can open the bank account in 5 minutes. I literally time myself 5 minutes to open the bank account. It takes 2 days to open. Then you've got a free bank account that doesn't charge you anything and gives you a free license for FreeAgent. So, I mean, that can alone save about £600 a year. So I had a client who was paying banking fees, like a monthly banking fee, and paying for monthly accountancy software, who shall not be named, but they managed to a year. So how easy is that? It's like such an easy sell. That's a lot of money for a small business. If it's a small business, £600 a year is a lot of money. So that's the first thing, is the integration, and it does integrate really well. One thing that I've really put across to clients is using the pots in Mettle. So what I'll do is, if they're a contractor client, I'll basically work out, right, do you need to be VAT registered, yes or no? If you are, put the VAT immediately when you get paid into a pot, right? The remaining amount, put, say, I don't know, 20% or maybe 25% if they're going to be a higher rate taxpayer. Just put that amount away into another pot. That's your tax saved, and then you can basically spend the rest of the money. You can draw out, you can spend it on the costs of business, but your tax pots are done and dusted. So, and you can do it so it's automatic as well. So just automatically sweeps into pots so that you shouldn't be spending them. And then at any point during the year, we can then use FreeAgent to go, right, you're 6 months in. I think an estimate for your corporation tax is going to be, I don't know, £7,000, but you've got £9,000 in your pot. So we can release that £2,000 with a view that we can have a proper look at it at the year end. Obviously leave a bit of a buffer in there. So yeah, that's how I'll kind of work things with clients, is making it simple for them. Basically, FreeAgent Mettle does. It's a great combination. You can upload your receipts to the Mettle app, and they'll feed through to FreeAgent too. So yeah, it's a really powerful, simple tool.
And I think it's that automatic sweeping that makes a big difference as well for me. Is that again, it's the concept of having pots with a bank account is not new. You can do that with others like Starling or Wise, other providers. But the fact that you can have that automatic sweeping, and so you can say, right, every time I receive X amount, 20% goes into this pot, and like you say, 25% goes in another pot. So we're just keeping aside the bits that we've definitely got a commitment for. I mean, that in itself is really neat. And I mean, I guess you could probably say that maybe the next iteration of that might be a really tight integration between FreeAgent and Mettle that says, we just look at it on a transaction by transaction basis, and we can see your live tax liabilities almost being built into the product, and we'll just put them to one side into the pots if you've got them set up.
Yeah. I mean, that would be good to see. I think it depends on, because the tax bill is a moving beast, isn't it? It's like every time you get paid, the tax bill goes up. Every time you pay stuff out as a transaction, even transfer money to yourself, there's dividend tax implications. So every transaction, the tax bill moves. I think that FreeAgent does a fantastic job of giving some really fairly accurate figures in the tax timeline. There's always some movement and adjustments at the end of the year, but that's totally fine. But it gives clients like reassurance of like, well, hang on a minute, when do I have to pay my next tax bill? Because all due different times, your VAT bill, personal tax, corporation tax. So having that view on your mobile phone, like just away, is just is super powerful. Yeah.
Well, it's just
what it means for clients. Go on, you go.
I was just going to say, it's just that clarity, right? Isn't it? That clarity of having that information at your fingertips in the app. No other product can really do that. No other product can give you a live view of what your VAT liability is, what your personal tax liability is, what your corporation tax liability. And like you say, it needs a bit of refinement. Often when you come to year end, because there's always something that you might have missed, or something that might have got miscategorized, maybe, or capital allowance that you didn't pick up. But just having that as a business owner, and also as an advisor to those business owners, just available right there, going, right, well, I can say that I'm 95% confident this is accurate, give or take, those nuances. Then you can carry on running your business with that peace of mind that you've got in terms of knowing that you're not going to run out of cash, or that you're not going to get an unexpected bill for a tax payment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even day-to-day running the business finances on FreeAgent is really powerful too. So if you think sending your sales invoices out, simple task, but the business can set it up so that FreeAgent chases your invoices automatically. It can send automatic reminders out. It can reconcile the transaction when you receive the payment across to the invoice. It can do different VAT rates. So if you've got multiple customers, some are zero rated, some of them charge VAT, some are reverse charge, some are CIS. It just takes care of all of that, and it flows through from your invoices right through to the banking. So for me, I think it just keeps a running total of your VAT bill. How much is your VAT liability? It's really important for some customers. There's some industries that are really struggling. Leisure, tourism, restaurant, and they need to know in advance, what their VAT is looking like. So it's really a powerful thing. So, and I mean, it's transformed my business as well. So I use FreeAgent for keeping my books. I do recurring invoices. It links with Go Cardless. It's like seamless. It all just kind of flows through, and I don't have to do anything. It can import transactions and Amazon, and it's like all these integrations have just been getting rolled out this year without anybody having to do anything. It as a user, and it's just right, plug in the integration and you're ready to go. So it just brings so many more businesses on board to FreeAgent too. So
yeah, absolutely. And payments are often quite a problem, aren't they, for businesses, in terms of like just getting on top of paying their suppliers and things like that. So talk me through sort of how Mettle and FreeAgent as well make that a little bit easier, a bit more seamless.
So I mean, the majority and bulk of my customers are really sort of like pay as you go sort of customers. They will kind of be there might be a bit of travel. They'll just pay with a debit card, and it just does integrate. So they don't necessarily have payment runs like you would have in larger companies. But having said that, there are some larger businesses in there, and they do utilize the bills and the credit function and stuff like that, which is really easy to follow on FreeAgent. Making part payments, you've got hire purchase bills. You can load all that in and do all that through there. So it's fairly straightforward. I mean, the big thing for FreeAgent for me as well is like payroll. Just seamlessly integrated. It's processed. It posts your transactions in there. The customer can basically have a look, and if they've got employees, all their pay slips are on there. Employee can see their wages, but nothing else. It's a really secure way of handling the transfer of data of the pay slips. And it's just so easy to set up. So 5 minutes set up for Mettle, 5 minutes set up FreeAgent, integrate them both. If you've got an existing bank account, that can just be integrated too. And away from there, like, the client has to do very little, really. The typical client, I mean, I'll always show them all of the features so that they can basically have all of those tools at their fingertips. But some of them just don't need to use them. They'll just, leave the work to me, and we'll get everything processed, ready for VAT returns, deadlines, limited companies. But the good thing is, once you've really processed the VAT returns every quarter, you're in pretty good shape for your year-end accounts. So
Absolutely.
When it comes to doing the year-end, it's not like you have to kind of like redo everything, like, or you're having to reprocess. It's like a lot of the stuff's already done. It's alive. And the other thing is, I've found really powerful this week is a couple of clients going for mortgages or whatever, and it's like, I need my accounts doing, and so it's like, right, okay, let's see how long it takes to get them done. And jobs that might have took like a day and a half before, if the VAT returns are all up to date, all the transactions are worked up to date, then you can sort of do a set of accounts in half a day, maybe less. And that's really powerful for clients, because then they can move quickly. So if the clients are applying for finance through their business, or they're going for a personal mortgage, they get the information from us really quickly. Whereas before, they would be like, well, I want to move house. Well, we need to do your accounts. You need to send us your bank statements. We need to. So it just speeds everything up and solves so many problems. Like, bank recs. What we don't have, which is, I think, is really underappreciated, is no data corruption. Like, you used to have software that you'd just be, working on every day, back it up, and then all of a sudden you discover there's some data corruption from like a couple of months ago. So all your data's knackered. It's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to send it anywhere. Client, the accountant and the client have both got a login. They can access the data real time. I feel like that's a really underappreciated. Like, it's a massive problem that we used to face all the time as accountants.
Yeah,
it just doesn't exist.
No, I completely agree. I remember the days of backups and then having to redo like the previous day's work, or getting clients ringing up saying, "Oh, we've lost like 3 weeks' work and we've not got a backup," and stuff. Yeah, absolute nightmare to deal with and stuff. And like you say, we kind of that is just the influence of technology, right? As it just becomes a norm, so we just kind of take it for granted. It's no longer a differentiator, because we kind of just, once we've moved onto one of these platforms, we just think that everyone else is in the same place, and we forget about the history of it. As I always use the technology, my technology analogies tend to revolve around cars, and it's like, well, do you remember if you had a car like 10 years ago and it probably didn't have GPS, it probably didn't have sat nav, if it had a DAB radio, it was like, that was proper like super slick. And like nowadays, you just don't even give half these things a second thought, because they just happen to, they're in the car automatically. And given that most cars will pretty much drive themselves nowadays, you just don't even give that a second thought, do you?
Yeah, I mean, that's an area that we really give a lot of advice on, is sort of company cars. So, your commercial vehicles can save absolute fortune. You can get the VAT back and get higher rate corporation tax relief, so that, whatever the car costs, you can get up to like 46.5% tax relief on it. Obviously, on the other side, you've got your benefit in kind, but that can be fairly minimal. You've got your electric vehicles, and then there are some really attractive hybrids as well. So those areas, being able to advise, right, okay, this is the tax rate you'll get. So being able to say to clients, like, you buy that vehicle, you'll save this amount in corporation tax. And it's, it's really powerful. And pension contributions, like, save thousands, just put some money to one side. Nobody ever really thinks about it when they're self-employed. They just, get their money in the business is their wages, like they are when they're employed. And you've got to kind of like change the mentality. You've got to do your tax pots, put some money away in the pension. No one else is doing it for you. You know, there's you'll get your state pension probably, but yeah, you need to be saving for yourself, and it's tax efficient. You know, you can basically earn money and put it without paying any tax on it. Put it in your pension because you get tax relief on it. So massive tax save. And the tools, Mettle, FreeAgent, just feed all into that because you've got the live data. You can say before the year end, have a pre-year end meeting. Right, these are the two things you can do. I've had clients go out and buy cars and vehicles, vans and stuff because they want to get their VAT and corporation tax bills down, and they were thinking about it anyway, but they can get it done before the year end and really get their tax bills reduced. So
is that, do you think that's probably one of the key things then about using FreeAgent and stuff, is that, you know, that ability to maybe be a bit more proactive makes a real difference? Because like you say, I mean, I remember the good old days of you know, you do a set of accounts for a client and you'd be like, oh wow, big tax bill coming, and then 2 weeks later they're like, oh, I've just gone off and bought a brand new like van or something, it cost me like 60 grand, and you're like, well, if you bought that maybe 2 months ago, it would have saved you a load of money. And that timing, that serendipitous timing of those things just never used to kind of like line up in the good old days, did it?
Yeah, totally. Because you're just reporting back over, aren't you? The customer would trade for 9 months of the year or whatever, and then they get 9 months to do their accounts. So it might be sort of like a long period of time between actually the decisions being made in the business about what you're going to spend money on and drawing up the accounts. So yeah, they just don't. Now everything marries up because I'm talking to clients all the time. It becomes part of like the monthly service. So we break our fees down as a monthly fee, fixed monthly fees for certain things, and then kind of up from there, depending on what the client needs. But client can ring us up at any point in time and be like, right, I'm thinking about this, and we're talking through it, and we can say, right, we can load up their accounts live on screen, and I can say, right, this is the tax you're going to save, and that is enormously powerful. And the other thing that I think it does is it kind of breaks down the barriers of setting up in practice. So I think what we're going to see is, because of all this digital technology and the growth of social media and bits and pieces like that, it's easier to gain clients and gain traction because you just need to put a bit of free content out there and you'll start gaining followers and referrals and stuff. But I think we're going to see like much less in the firms. The bigger firms are going to be basically, I think, losing accountants to people who are going to set up on their own, because you don't actually need that many clients to cover your own salary, to be brutally. So I think you know, you're going to see a big move in that, and that's one thing I've been doing and want to help people do is set up in their own business. You know, we're going to get to a point where we'll be at capacity in the next couple of months. So it's about how much, you know, what I want to spend my time doing, and I really want to help other people set up their own business. I've kind of done it 3 times already. I helped three accountants set up their own businesses, and I want to do it again. I want to help people. So if there's anyone watching this who fancies setting up on their own, I'd be happy to provide some support on that as well.
Sounds amazing.
So I think we're going to see a big.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think we've already seen it probably over the last 10 years or so. Particularly, it's like the cloud, you know, revolution has happened. You know, we've seen people spilling out of larger firms and some smaller firms as well, and setting up on their own and realizing that you change the way that you deliver the services that we offer to clients and stuff. And like you say, with social media and everything else, you can build a profile quite quickly and stuff. But Craig, thank you very much. I think that's a perfect place to kind of wrap things up. Hopefully this episode has provided valuable insights and things that you can take forward. Hopefully you've got a bit more of an insight into how FreeAgent and Mettle work as a combo, and certainly a great opportunity with those two products. And you do check out the show notes for links to digital disruptors, to anything that we talked about, and of course our sponsor Advancetrack, and anything else that we reference in the show we'll include in the show notes as well, and we'll include links to Craig and his socials and bits and pieces, so you can pick up with him if you do want some help and support as well. And if you're thinking about taking that deep dive into the world of accounting on your own, I'm sure he's got some great insights he can share. If you want to ensure you catch future episodes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to look out for the release on a Thursday morning, and and we look forward to hosting another one next week. I'm not sure if it's going to be me or Ryan, but one of us will be here, and we'll be taking another deep dive into another product. But for now, that is it. Thank you very much.